Hi, my name is Deborah Henson-Conant, and I am here with Eleanor Turner, who is a harp soloist extraordinaire. I'm a composer, and Eleanor is going to be doing the premiere, the UK premiere of a piece that we've done together in Australia and also in the US, which is called Soñando in Español, which is a 3-movement concerto for harp and chamber ensemble. So Eleanor, I'm so excited that you are doing this piece. I love how you do it. I love the passion and the beauty and the incredible, like, full body experience that you bring to this piece. And I would just love to know,
Thank you.
what does this piece allow you to express? And I know you have other, for example, one of my favorite pieces on this, on your program is Ravel's Introduction Allegro, right?
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
is the piece that I based the orchestration for my Soñando en Español on,
yeah.
specifically so if they could be done together. So what does my piece Soñando en Español allow you to express as an artist that the incredible Ravel does not?
It comes down to how unique you can make it and how freely I can interpret it. And obviously, having collaborated with you personally, just having that feeling of confidence, having worked with the composer, a living composer, I know I'm not getting it wrong. I can just go to town with the interpretation. Even the opening, you've left it completely free. You wrote something out, but you've also said, improvise, go for it, do whatever you like, bring the whole thing to life however you feel fit.
Wow. So that's making me think, as both a performer and a composer and someone who has been so inspired by Ravel, what would you do if you were given the same freedom with the Ravel?
That's interesting. I think that I've gone on quite a journey already with the Ravel. I think when I was a teenager and I initially had the score and I started to play the music, I had no idea about interpreting French music. I didn't know what the rules and regulations were. And I used to see things in terms of the colors. I mean, I remember clearly writing different emotions on the music. Like, I connected with it immediately. And I saw the opening as a vibrant royal blue. And I would come in with like a huge fortissimo and just express myself and just sort of slosh myself all over it. And then I learned that wasn't the correct style. That wasn't the way to approach that music.
Wow, that is so interesting that there are sort of rules and regulations about interpretation. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you're right. Oh, wow. Okay, like, I could just talk. It's fascinating. So in my piece, I mean, I think of my piece as being very physical. And
Yeah.
yes, I do love to see performers take liberties because I love seeing what a piece reveals of the
Yeah.
artist as much as what the artist reveals of the piece, because that seems to be that happens together.
Yeah.
So what do you feel that, and I one of the things I love about what you do is your, oh, you just said full body immersion. Like, some of the ways that I've seen you express certain lines that you just, and then your body goes into it. Like, how do you do that? And what would you say to other artists? What are you doing when you do that?
Breathing. Breathing and mainly exhaling. Like, through a phrase, I would try and exhale to relax through it and kind of give myself to the music, and it just feels great. And that's, weirdly enough, that's something that your piece would have very much in common with performing the Ravel. So it would all be done through the breathing, and it's just that when I'm playing the Ravel, it's a more controlled kind of, I've prepared the phrases exactly how I would like to hear them, maybe back in a recording, and it's it's less open to interpretation, and less likely to change dramatically on the night.
Now,
Whereas, yeah,
do you think that's specifically because I'm a living composer and you have talked to me versus talking to me through a teacher who may have ideas about how you're supposed to interpret me?
yeah, I think that must be the key. It's not just that you're but I knew before I met you, I knew you as an artist. I knew what you looked like and what you sounded like, and I knew how expressive you were. But it's having permission to, through having worked with you personally, that's what's given me that true sense of freedom. I just have that complete 100% confidence that I know that you're going to love it, even if I change the voicing of the chord,
Right.
or the direction of the phrase. I know you're going to love it because you trust me,
Right.
and I trust your music. So
Yeah, and that's interesting,
so.
because you said I'm gonna love it even if, and as you said that, I was thinking I'm gonna love it, especially when you do something that just because I think often that a composer and a performer are like the mother and the father of the child. And so, and again, you reveal for me the piece just as much as the piece allows you to reveal you. So talk about the piece itself and what people are going to see emotionally, even if they know nothing about music, they're not music fans, they're not harp fans. What are they going to experience from the first movement, the second movement, the third movement of Soñando in Español?
Yeah, sure. They are going to hopefully experience like a real connection with their own emotions. It's not an elitist piece of artwork. It's an emotive piece of artwork. It's as you said, it's expressive physically as well as the sound of it. So it's visually, it's more intriguing. And I think it just brings the experience of being a performer to life for the audience, so they can immediately come freely into my world, and they'll know through looking, they'll know also what I'm feeling as well as listening to the music. And I think, yeah, for non-harpists and non-musicians, I think that is really important. That's how they're going to connect.
And so is there a story aspect to it? Like, do you feel like you're telling a story through it, and what is that story?
Yeah, I mean, we chatted when we were in New Orleans together. We chatted about your stories behind it, and I've got my own stories behind it, and they are very personal, and they would go, the kind of emotions would go a lot with the shape of it, and like we were saying about the improvised bits, if I'm sort of doing like a big, what we'd call an arpeggio, from the bottom of the harp to the top, I'm kind of like the emotions are literally surging up inside me.
Wow.
Which they wouldn't necessarily do in another composition. And then you've given me these wonderful expressive gestures and the percussive gestures. And some people might not know these amazing strums that you do.
Yeah.
And you said it's like shaking water off your hands.
Yeah.
And even water is very healing and therapeutic. So if you're kind of shaking the water off your hands in that kind of gesture, that's even quite a therapeutic, quite an expressive.
That's right. Yeah. And I've seen you do that with that real follow through. It's funny, as I'm talking to you and as I was asking you about story, I was almost thinking that, well, there's two things. I was thinking that it's so important for me as a composer and as a player to find the power in the instrument, because I felt that was really sort of eked out of it as an instrument, and then to see your power with it. But then the second movement is just so emotional and romantic. It's like, to me, it's like achingly romantic. And then I was almost thinking that it was like the first movement is almost like a child's experience of music. The middle movement is like a woman's romantic experience of music. And then the final movement is kind of like coming into your power as both. I don't know, but I was thinking about that. Do you experience that at all?
Yeah, definitely. And there's, I didn't think so much that about the first movement. Like that to me feels very spicy, very rhythmic, very, very tight. You have that kind of,
Right.
It's just full of energy and rhythm, and you've got to be so controlled with that. So that to me doesn't make me think of childhood so much, but the middle movement, yeah, I feel that's really, it's just so tender, and that is, it's really expressive, but it's not I don't see it as something to necessarily overindulge. I think it's, it's personal. It's inside there. A lot of it's holding back as much as it is
Right,
giving
that's
forth.
right. That's part of what makes it really aching is that holding back, which is so beautiful because I've seen you do I mean, I was conducting you, so I was trying to follow, and and it was wonderful. It was wonderful because I was really experiencing that holding back at the end of the phrases that just makes it so compelling. So you are not going to be working with a conductor. And have you had your
No,
rehearsals yet?
no. We have the first rehearsal in just over a week, and yeah, I'm interested to see how I can carry the performance as the conductor as well as the soloist, and I think it will work because
It
I think
should.
that the harp has most of the rhythm.
That's right. It should. And of course you can always conduct a little bit when you're not doing that, even with your body. And which leads me to realize that this is the first ever performance of the piece as a chamber piece without conductor, which is
Yeah.
really, I can't wait to see what happens because of that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
And it's also the musicians that I'm performing with, they're all friends and they're all people that I just trust
wow.
implicitly. And I know I'm not going to have to explain anything. They'll just know, they'll know how I want to interpret it and they'll feel it. So,
Well, I can't wait to hear, what happens as this progresses, what your experience is taking this piece, which has never been performed as a chamber piece yet. I mean, performed without conductor, and what you
yeah,
will
yeah.
discover, what are going to be the things that blossom because there's no conductor? What are the things that are going to be a little bit challenging because there's no conductor? So that'll be really great. Like I'm thinking about coming in at the end of the third movement. That's really tricky, and how you guys are going to count that. But I mean,
Yeah.
and who knows what will happen? Sometimes when there are technical challenges like that, you come up with a solution that is even more musical than having somebody there controlling it.
Yeah,
So I'll be very interested to
that's
see her.
true.
So I'm thrilled. I love working with you as my voice and my that the voice of me as a composer. And I want everyone to go to this concert so you can tell me how you felt about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Oh, I'm
hopefully we'll
so
talk
excited
again
as well.
before the actual performance, and I'm going to try to put this
Yeah.
online and with some information about the show. How many shows are there?
So far, there are three in September this
Great.
year,
Great.
and yeah, I mean, I'm planning on touring with it more extensively next year.
Great.
So it's not just a sort of finished product. It is still a work in progress, as everything always is. And yeah, I mean, it would be good to collaborate more
Yes,
as
and
the year goes
just
on.
because I should give some equal time to other composers. So there's Ravel on the program, and who else is on
Yeah.
the program? What other composers?
There's a bit of me, a bit of Eleanor Turner.
Great,
I'm going to be playing a couple of pieces that include some improvisation and some spoken word
fabulous.
for the first time ever. And it's yeah, it's definitely my most personal concert I think I've ever done.
Wow,
And yeah, and the lead violinist David LePage, he's written some beautiful music, and one of his pieces starts off the program.
great.
And I mean, there are some surprises that I obviously
Well, we
can't
can't
tell
talk
you as
about them.
well.
And
There's
and you
a new piece.
commissioned one of the pieces.
Yeah, yeah, and that's by Benjamin Rimmer. And the interesting thing about that is that because he's a male composer, there's a real difference between our kind of overt, feminist, powerful, diva-like.
Uh-huh.
You and I, we sort of share
Right.
that. And
I am
yet,
woman. Hear me roar.
no, hear me roar, totally. And yet the male voice seems to be, I don't know, just it seems to have a little bit more calm and peace about it. I'm not sure if that's a rash generalization, but Ben Rimmer's music is just so, it's still, and it just really draws you in, and it kind of creates a very open space.
Wow, so that's great.
It's very beautiful.
So it sounds like you've got a really broad spectrum here.
Yeah.
And more than one living composer.
Yeah, apart from the Ravel, it's all living.
And I think that's really great because when I was first starting, the Ravel was like the chamber ensemble piece, and now you've got pieces that can be played with it, which is I think great.
Yeah.
Because otherwise harpists were relegated to doing a single performance, a single piece, whereas it's just so exciting to have your voice as an artist throughout the program. So I just think that's spectacular.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
It's like it's a bit of a triumph all round. I feel like it's a personal triumph to get this program together, featuring more female composers, you and I. Yay! Big up the women. And then obviously the Ravel is kind of like a nod to the inspiration behind what we're doing.
Well, for me, absolutely. I mean, I specifically, like I said, wrote the instrumentation because I think that piece was, was the beginning. That and the Debussy was the beginning of the harp really being, having its own voice within a chamber ensemble situation, and that was very influential to me in terms of and also just introduction and allegro, and same with Debussy dances, the contrast of the two genres in a sense, and then you see that in Baroque flamenco, that idea of like here's one kind of music and here's another kind of music going back and forth, and I think I was very influenced by both Debussy and Ravel in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
And you've got the structure as well. Like I've read in your blogs and stuff before, and I know you personally. How we both feel that when you have some restraints and some structure and everything, that's what enables you to have true freedom as an artist.
Right.
You have certain things in place, and then you go crazy and create around that.
That's right. That provides the infrastructure to let you be creative. Yeah. So Eleanor, thank you. This was really exciting to get to talk to you, and I hope we will get to talk again as this adventure begins of you, as I see it, taking my music out into the world in a way that it is going away from me, which is thrilling because I now get to see it in a completely different way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a real privilege, and you've always been my idol, and now you're my friend.
Yes, and it's a privilege for me too. So we'll talk more. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Of course, we didn't say like where it is. Can you just say, oh, I didn't really want you to go away. Can you just?
I really went.
So, can you just say like where this concert is and what?
Yeah. Okay, so in England, 2nd of September, we are at the Forge in Camden, in London. 26th of September in my hometown of Stamford. It's about 400 seats to fill there, so get on down to Stamford. And then the following day, 27th of September, in Market Harborough, which is another like British market town, very pretty town.
Fabulous. Okay, so people can get information about this on your website. And what is your?
Just go to eleanorturner.com, and there's also a page called Wild Bird Show, and that's where to go to get all the info.
Okay, so Wild Bird Show. Okay, well, thank you. I wish I could be there, but I will be there in spirit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't hang up, but bye.
Okay. Bye.